It's the fun season in the NBA right now. The draft is about a week away. And so you have trade talks, you got draft talks, you got free agency talks. This is beautiful. The NBA finals are officially behind us. Congratulations to the Denver Nuggets. Jokic, you are unreal. But we're not here to talk about the Nuggets. We're here to talk about the Pistons. And they have been linked to make a big, big trade with the Dallas Mavericks. And this one was interesting to me. It says Pistons Mavs linked to NBA draft pick trade with Bogdanovich and Tim Hardaway Jr. I'm trying to figure out this whole thing. So let's just read what it says. They're set to pick in the top 10. We know that. They have the 5th pick. All of that's good. But the Dallas Mavericks have the number 10 pick. And it's talking about how we could get it. And here's what it says. Some trade scenarios could be in play for the Pistons with the number 31 pick as well. For example, packaging Bojan Bogdanovich for Tim Hardaway and the number 10 pick. So there's been talks about we have 5 making a deal with the Mavs to acquire number 10. I don't know what that looks like. Does that look like we give them Bogey? Because they're cap strapped. So they can't just take on Bogdanovich's contract. So they would have to give us something back. And this is written really kind of funky, but my thought process here is that we would give up, the way it's kind of written is that we'd give up Bogey for Hardaway and 10. Like, I don't think that you're getting that in return. Could I see a world where we give up number 31 and Bogdanovich for Hardaway and number 10? Because you view Bogdanovich as considerably more valuable. I think I said that right. It's considerably more valuable than Hardaway because Bogey is considerably more valuable than Hardaway right now. Bojan Bogdanovich is he's just a guy who's going to get you a bucket. Like Bogdanovich is the type of shooter. If you're the Mavs and you're like, oh man, you saw the whole Doncic Irving thing. What did that look like? One of them always on the floor. Well, if both of them are on the floor or one of them's on the floor with Bogey, you still have 2 elite scorers on the floor. Bogdanovich proved with the Jazz that he was a great third option when you had Mitchell and you had Conley and I mean, honestly, he was probably the second option because scoring, but he wasn't probably considered by most to be the second or even third best player. He's considered to be the 4th. Then he comes to Detroit, balls out, continues to average a lot of points. It was the go-to scorer for this team throughout the season. I don't know if that was the plan. I think it was Cade was the plan, but he proved he could do it. So now all of a sudden he's worth even more in trade scenarios. The question is, would you do this deal if you're a Pistons fan? I'm going to break it down for you again. It is our 31st pick in Bogey for the 10th pick and Tim Hardaway. Would you do it? If you have questions, that's okay. Let's give you a little background on who Tim Hardaway Jr. is. All right. And then we'll give you a little background on Bojan, and what his stats are. So I'm going to give you both. All right. So I'm going to have you listen to a little bit here, and then you can give me a little more informed answer. For his career, remember that Tim Hardaway is averaging 14 points. And he's been pretty consistent. Like, I mean, lately there was a couple of years where he's in the 17, 18, 19 range, but it's been 14 to 16 points the last 5 or 6 years. He is a 36% three-point shooter, and he is streaky. His last few years in the league, he shot 38.5%, 33.5%, 39%, 40%, 32%, 35%, 34%. Like, it's all over the board, people. All right. If you look at Bogdanovich, he's a little bit more accomplished. He's a little bit more polished. You don't have to worry about these things with him. He's averaging more points. He's honestly just a better player. His 3-point percentage is almost 40%. He's shooting at a 39% clip. He's doing really well. He's good. Okay. Like, let's just know he's good. He's averaging 15.6 points. But lately he's only gotten better. apparently he gets better with age. He's like a fine wine. So here's the question. Would you do it? How valuable is that number 10 pick? How valuable is that number 10 pick? And is it one of those things that comes available when number 10 is there and it has someone that we want? That's the question you have to ask yourself. And I'm very intrigued by this. I'm just super intrigued. So I just think it makes sense for us. Let's go ahead and I'm going to show you another screen here, and we're going to go to the big board. Let's see what could be available with the 10th pick. So we know we're at number 5. That puts us in the range. Probably not Miller, but I've heard a lot of Jarris Walker talk, Cam Whitmore talk. I've heard a lot of Amen Thompson or Asar Thompson talk. But what about with that 10th pick? What if Taylor Hendricks is still on the board? What if Grady Dick is available? Like if one of those guys are still available, all of a sudden I'm looking and I'm saying, this could be good. Like this could be a really good scenario for us where we're able to get a player that we could potentially view as a replacement. Like Grady Dick is your small forward. He becomes your new Bogdanovich. Like he kind of reminds me of Bogdanovich to an extent. He's a little more athletic. He's not as good of a shooter, and he's not as polished, obviously, because he's going to be a rookie. Taylor Hendricks, the dude's shooting over 40% from 3. He would be a phenomenal power forward for us. These are all good things, and it depends on where it goes. And if you get the number 10 pick, you can say to yourself, you know what, we'll probably be able to get our 3-and-D player with the 10th pick so we can take a bigger swing with the 5th pick. Maybe it's a Thompson brother. Maybe it's Whitmore, and you swing kind of more for the athletic upside that these guys carry. So maybe, and Hardaway is not a bad player. He's been a good player. He's a better defender. He's definitely a better defender than Bogdanovich is, but he's not as good of an offensive player. He still brings that, what's the word I want to say? He kind of brings that lunch pail mentality. Dude works hard. He would be a good veteran presence in the locker room. He'd be a couple years younger. They're both under contract for the next 2 years. Bogey's getting slightly more. So you save a few million on your contract side of things. Honestly, it feels like it could be a win-win for both teams because Hardaway becomes a good scorer off the bench for us. And maybe off the bench. Depends on what Ivy's doing right away. I would hate it if he came in and Ivy had to sit the bench. I don't think that's how it works. But he would be a great scorer off the bench, playing 25, 30 minutes a night for us. And Bogdanovich would be kind of that third elite level scorer that the Mavericks could want or could need. They're not really needing a number 10 overall pick right now. They need to win now. They're in win now mode with Luka. That's what they're doing. And Kyrie. Not getting any younger. Also, Luka's got a contract looming. So you got to get in win now mode if you're the Mavs. Bogey does that for them. And I think Tim Hardaway fits slightly better into our timeline, slightly better into the finances, and honestly, slightly better on the roster as a backup guy who can play the 2 or the 3. That's where I think we're struggling with a little bit more. So let me know what you think about the trade. I think I'd do it. Hit the comments below. Subscribe. Become a member. See ya.